Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Ashita no Joe, episode 18, and I think I'm going to start with drawing today in order to kind of get my thoughts in order and let the caffeine percolate into my bloodstream, because I slept really poorly last night. I'll tell you why. I've been doing some pretty hefty exercise, and I grabbed this off the shelf and was like, wow, creatine and BCAAs and electrolytes and turmeric and vitamins and quercetin and CoQ10 and glucosamine. I want all those things in my body. And so I drank a bunch of it last night. And I didn't realize that it also contained 40 milligrams of natural caffeine. Totally borked my sleep. Hi, kitty. Hi. Hi, good kitty. Anyway, let me set up for a drawing really quick, and I'm going to do that first. Careful, kitty. There's a precariously balanced light over there. Okay. Okay, I'm using a bunch of like reference frames from the previous episode to put this together the way that I have it in my brain. And I think luckily I have access to like literally every frame available, or every frame that I would need for it. It's half and half. So it's like half. Hi kitty, you helping? Helpful cat. Okay, now I'm gonna try to add some color to it. I'm gonna do this pale yellow for the skin color, which I think is gonna be a little off, but it'll work once I fill everything else in. This brown. I think it's the only brown that I have that would work for Dompe's skin color. It's a little bit off from how he actually is. He's like a little reddy, a little pinkish. But this will work. Okay. This gets to be all black, everything. It also covers up any of my like internal mistakes, which is very nice. Right, I managed to leave a little streak of white in that line, which is exactly what I wanted. Okay. I think that's a wrap. And I'm pretty happy with it overall. I think that if I had planned for the light to be coming from Donpei, I wouldn't have this little curve here that's like the... I tried to curve it as part of the portion of the spotlight that shows up on the bottom, and it's a little bit off. I feel like the drawing of Aoyama could be a little bit better, and I would want to redo it. And I think that the fist on this one is a little bit off. It looks like it's turned sideways instead of being straight up like this way. But the idea, the core idea of it, and the sort of like psychological representation that I was sort of going for, the religious image comes through like completely, I think. We've got this spotlight on Aoyama, and it builds Aoyama into this enormous, imposing, terrifying shadow, which he might actually be. Like, he's actually capable of stepping up and embodying that and actually kind of bringing the pain and doing it. And Danpei has turned away from us, focused all his attention on Aoyama, and it's his light that's illuminating this guy. It's his output. It's Danpei's skill and knowledge as a coach that allows this little kid to cast such a big shadow. But it's also outsized, and it's also a little bit built up in your head and a little bit kind of false. So the image that I have here is the image where you see a big shadow on the wall. It's like, oh, it's so scary. And then it's a tiny little creature. You know, there's a scene in Avatar: The Last Airbender where there's the long looming shadow, and then we look up and it's Momo, a little lemur, right? And that's sort of the vibe that I want here, is that I in the back of my mind, I'm like, you're scared of something that isn't what you think it is, but the fear itself, the unknown itself, might change the way that you act, might like affect you so deeply that it fucks you over really hard. I still don't know what Danpei is trying to accomplish, and I think that trying to represent this visually is my way of trying to get what's going on in my subconscious as I've been trying to work at this problem onto a paper. I think that the show, I'm kind of two minds of it. On one side, I'm a little bit frustrated, and I think that that's maybe a good thing, and that's the other side. I think that the show has done a really good job of putting me into Joe's shoes. Somebody who was getting kind of used to having Danpei's attention and actually believing him. He'd come around to actually believing that Danpei would be his coach, and they'd be off to the races together. And let's go, old man. You promised you would be my coach, and I'm gonna be your boxer. And I've come around to the idea. Let's do it. And he cannot understand why Danpei is turning away from him, and neither can I. And because of the way that the episodes have been executed, I really don't have a grapple on it. I've got a bunch of ideas, a bunch of things that I think could be sort of reasonable. Okay, so one idea is to teach Joe the power of being the underdog. Now Joe is sort of on high. He's like, people think he's good at this. Nobody knows what Aoyama can do. And now Aoyama has this like fire in him. So maybe this is Danpei teaching Joe that, hey, your ability to beat Rikishi is like partly your own skill, but it's also partly the dynamics of the thing. Like when you're coming from underneath and you're hungry, that's really different from when you're defending your title. And that could be a really useful lesson. Is that the actual lesson that we're teaching? I don't know. Is the lesson that we're teaching that you're nothing without a coach? That without other people to rely on, you can't stand on your own, Joe? Is this a direct needle into Joe's ego? I don't know. I don't know. Is it simply a lesson on underestimating your opponent? On not on believing that somebody is going to remain who they are when you first meet them, that your impression of them will remain, and it's hard to shake yourself from that, to believe that while when you first met, it was obvious that you could kick Aoyama's ass. That's not always going to be true. And with a bit of training and a bit of fire in his heart, Aoyama can stand up against you, and you should be really careful about passing those rapid judgments on people, because maybe this isn't as metaphorical. Like maybe it's not a shadow that we're just casting behind Aoyama. Maybe that's his future, and we're just shining a light on it, right? And letting it emerge. And Aoyama's real possibility as a person could come out and truly be a monster. I don't know. I don't know what we're doing here. I think with that exception, with the exception of some road where Danpei actually genuinely wants to train Aoyama and is using the opportunity where he's turning his attention to Aoyama to also turn his attention away from Joe in order to teach him a lesson. That's the only way where this doesn't feel like we're just using Aoyama as a means to an end. And that's where I think I'm going to have a qualm here. My qualm is going to be if Aoyama's purpose in the story is solely to be built up for Joe to then defeat. And the lesson that Joe learns is something along the lines of those like don't underestimate your opponent kind of things, but then we don't actually do anything with Aoyama and he doesn't become a boxer and we just sort of ignore him and forget about him. I think that would be pretty sad because then it would really feel like we're just using him. He's just opportune. He's just in the right place at the right time for Danpei to use him to his real goal, which is to train Joe better. And I don't really like that. I don't like the idea that we would use Aoyama's passion, his genuine desire to be a boxer, and just funnel it into Joe, just sort of steal it and give it to Joe. In some, like in a weird way, by setting them up against each other, you try to inflame Joe's internal burning with Aoyama's and point him toward a future where he has a lot of people to defeat and not just Rikishi. But if that doesn't come through in a way where, like, Aoyama gets some fulfillment as a person and gets to stand a little stronger than he did and gets to feel like he did it a little bit, or at least like he got the chance to try really hard, then I think that's gonna be really sad, and I don't know that I like that if it ends up being that way. But I don't know that it's gonna end up being that way. So let's go ahead and see what it actually ends up being for this next episode of Ashita no Joe. Let me plop this up here and be back in a sec. That looks pretty cool up there. Now that I'm sort of zoomed out from it and I can't see all the details that, like, in my mind I know I don't think are quite right, the whole frame is kind of striking. Kind of cool. I like the spot coloring. I think now that I'm looking at it from further away that, like, the gray shadow in the sort of center of the legs should also maybe filter up to the arm. But that's in the space of dealing with light and stuff, and I don't really know how to do it. It might also be better if I adjust on the spotlight and there's no gray shadow coming out from one to the other. That could have worked too. I'm not really sure what I could have done. And then I get an impression now that I'm looking at it that's very much like Grecian urns on the sort of yellow bronze, orangey kind of ceramic. Huh. That's kind of cool. Okay, let's go. I've got Joe episode 18 up and ready. There'll be 2 versions, PiP in the description, timer on YouTube, early access on the Patreon as usual. Let's get to it. Joe, episode 18. I've missed this. Tatake. Ashita, why don't you not? Oh, that yellow's the same yellow. That's fun. Okay. I gotta use that yellow more. Ashita, why don't you not? Oh. Okay. Is this our opportunity to see what Aoyama's got? Or are we actually going to be facing him? Because I know that they're going to meet each other in the tournament. Is everybody practicing? Or is that just Joe punching bag? Is he not? He's not watching? Yeah, buddy. He's got AO. Okay, so Joe's not watching. He's just punching the bag. Which reminds me of Danpei's line, like, won't you watch him? Okay, he's taking it seriously. Okay, man. Oh, that's not good. That's a bad title. Ring Ropes of Despair. Okay. Despair for whom? Everybody applaud your sensei. Hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, I've got a big cup and everything. What are the boxes? He doesn't have his cane either. Okay. Okay. Way less knockouts. Way more brain injury. Oh, whoa. Some small gloves. Okay, so Aoyama's gonna fight people. What? What? Wait, what? That's not how that works. But okay, yeah, great. Fucking sick. Just let him hit me in the face. Okay. So wait. We're giving the stronger people heavier gloves and we think that's a handicap? Joe. Data kana? Are you sure about that? You just said, what would you know to Danpei? Who? Him? Especially with heavier gloves, if he is going to avoid you and wear you out. Fuck, that's so fun. You're in Danpei's world, man. You're in Danpei's world. You're gonna lose, dude. Yeah. Stop being a stick in the mud. Yeah. Do some learning, maybe. Nani? What could I possibly learn from you? Okay. Toru versus somebody. I'm sorry for the somebody. Hi, somebody. Oosh. Eesh. Oof. Yeah, you're fucked. It's ogre, kiddo. He's got a theme song, man. He's got a theme song, man. What are you gonna do? That. Get your ass kicked. Well, that's fun. That's our first tangle in the rope sort of situation. Is he dead? I hope he's not straight up dead. We're sort of playing this like he's dead. Oh, wow. Even she's sweating. From my understanding, heavier gloves have more padding to them. Uh-huh. Okay, dude. He's just gotta prove himself every moment. Is this Aoyama's first match? Okay. Again, we're gonna underestimate the boy. Don't underestimate the kid. The kid is stretching. The kid's stretching his ankles and hips. He's just doing his fucking training, man. Tell me he's locked in. Tell me he's locked in. Oh, he's locked in. I thought that was the lesson, though. Not worried. Let's go, Aoyama. Let's go, Aoyama. On me? He's warming up his ankles. He's warming up his knees and his hips, man. He's stretching out. He's getting ready to move with footwork. All right, I think he's going to give this guy the runaround until he's tired, and then he's going to one-punch him. Oh, he's got a smile. He's ready. I'm in it for the kid. Let's go. Don't ever count the kid out. Otto! Don't ever count the kid out. Yosha! Hi, hi! Zip! Instant transmission. My kid has learned some footwork. Huh! 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 Those are some heavy gloves to be swinging around over and over and over and over and over and over and over. He's got the footwork. Oh, wow! Yeah, let's go! We sped it up as we went, too. You're missing something. Okay. Okay. How are you going to defeat a kid who you can't touch? Oh, there's the same cut again. Yeah, you gotta land something. An opportunity will present itself. Alright. Alright. So then I wonder if the ignoring from Donpei and frustrating Joe is the meta story. He doesn't have the brain power to think through that. Yeah? Light gloves, small body. All he's doing is moving around. It's great. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. He's not tiring himself out, though. Oh, he's doing the full Muhammad Ali? My guy! Hands down? Dancing around? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Aoyama the king. This is king shit, Aoyama. This is definitely not a trap. That was really fun. Really dynamic. That's the second one that's been really interesting. He knows. Joe's figuring it out. This is dangerous. You gotta corner him the way that Rikishi cornered Joe. Whoa! We got freaking head movement! But to the nines! To the tens! Holy shit, that's so fun. Putty, putty, putty! How would you defeat this, Joe? How would you defeat this? Do you have a way? Oh, we're using those again. Nice. How does he land one? Okay, Joe's getting into it. He's stopped being wrapped in his own ego. He's just watching now. There's actually something he can learn here, and he might be able to. If he can, like, divest himself from his thoughts. We've glued the same cut together a number of times in a way that's been really helpful. Or, like, really effective. Gloves are heavy, man. The what? What the? Almost there, buddy. He's really tired. So we're not counting slip downs as downs? Yeah, this starts to get boring. Okay. Aoyama should be able to ignore it. But he's also got the opportunity that he needs. He's ready. He's ready. Give him the gazelle punch. Pow. My guy, retreat can be the best tactic. Okay, alright, Joe. Heh. Heh. Yeah, but if he wins. But if he wins, dude. Oh, he's coming. Oh, he's epoing! He's floating and he's stinging. He's floating and he's stinging! That's it, Aoyama. Sting him. I don't know, it can stack up. But can he actually knock him down? Just a bunch of small punches? So he fully just didn't remember the whole, like, 45 seconds of beating the shit out of the guy? Ooh. Ooh. Okay, he'll overextend. Oto. No words, Joe? My guy is locked in. It's just basics. It's just fundamentals. He's a weaker fighter, but he's got the fundamentals. And he's got the movement. This match has been decided. Yeah. There was no secret special move. Just solidity. Hi. You're next. Ha ha! Let's go, Aoyama! Let's go, Aoyama! I'm gonna beat you! Yes. Yes. Heavy fucking gloves. Your own body? Your own stamina? Or does he mean that somebody else will defeat you? I think he means your body is going to defeat you. Oh, man. Well. Oh, he has no friends, man. He's alienated everybody from himself. Wow. Yeah, that's an interesting wrinkle. I don't think we will because he's said that. I think he'll actually find a way. But I don't know. What do we got? Okay. Those are heavy gloves. Okay, man. That's not a thing to brag about. Oh, Joe? Are you sure? Oh, he can't control himself at all. Oh, no. Oh, are we putting lighter gloves on bigger opponents? I'm not understanding the glove situation, I guess. Oh, that's fun. But his whole body's being flung around by his own gloves. Shit. Shit. Fuck. Shit. Oh. Is he straight gonna lose round one? For his own hubris? It's not luck. It's your hubris, dude. Just wailing on his gloves again. Straight through. Big puffy 12-ounce gloves won't cut through the guard either. You're fucked. You're fucked, Joe. You goofed. Get up then. You're losing, dude. That's right. He's letting you hang yourself. Damn. Okay. Okay. What's this? Huh? What? Oh, if it's a knockout, it's a knockout. That's so insane. If I can't win by the rules, I'm gonna win outside the rules. Holy shit. Sure. Sure, I'm gonna knock this kid out. I don't think so, man. I think you're gonna lose it. Ow. No, he's got him. Got him to open up. Now he's got big old gloves beating his brain into jelly. I think this will do it. More people turn against the stray dog. Eh? Eh. What's going on inside, Joe? Not I. Ego, ego. Not me. I can't lose. Anything to win, huh? Okay. I just wanted to know if we were gonna. Date. Ah. This is great. I like the way that this is going. And I still don't know how it's going to conclude. Okay, I think we're gonna plan to do a double next time and finish this arc up. I'm pretty sure that that's how it's going to frame out, and that we're not gonna like complete things in the next episode. Partly because the way that it was titled, the like something liver punch, makes me think that we're gonna like introduce a move by the end of the episode and then like come down in the one after that. So I don't want to lock myself into watching 3, partly because I have another thing that I have to do this afternoon. So let's focus in on this episode and the way that it builds out like Joe's frustration and builds Aoyama up. I end up by the end of this episode pretty strongly on Aoyama's team, even against Joe, and maybe in part because I think that Aoyama doing well or maybe even beating Joe would be very valuable as a lesson for Joe. Which then puts me in the place of like using Aoyama as a means to an end. So again, I still want Aoyama to fulfill his possibility, his potential as a boxer. So there's an element of this episode that I think does that. Aoyama is locked in, he's on his game, he's fighting the opponent in front of him while keeping the long game in mind, but it's not in the sort of like broken way where he's too focused on the person he'll be fighting later that he can't focus on the person who's right in front of him. Like he's not underestimating his current opponent and only having eyes for Joe, which is sort of what Joe is doing, where he's like, I don't have eyes for anybody. Aoyama will be fine. I don't really care about any of this. It'll all be easy, and then I'm gonna fight like the real fighters. I'm gonna win this damn thing, you know? The slow burn sort of reveal of Aoyama's strategy makes a lot more sense now. The setup that we had previously with Numata and getting tired out, and then the build up here is really cool. The biggest wrinkle is glove weights, and I actually want to go and look into something about glove weights. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought that generally training gloves are a little heavier, like 16-ounce gloves. in part to protect your hands against slamming into a bag a bunch, and in part to protect your opponent if you're sparring, to have more padding on there. I don't know if this was true in the slightly older days when we were dealing with horsehair padded gloves as opposed to like synthetic foam padded gloves. There are still horsehair padded gloves, there are still synthetic gloves, there are like all kinds of gloves. But what I remembered was advice when I was looking into buying boxing gloves that while you might use lighter gloves for bag work and for direct competition and stuff, and actually for fighting, you use bigger, heavier, softer, fluffier pillows for beating the shit out of each other and sparring, so you don't actually cause each other damage. So I'm a little bit uncertain how we've arranged the heavy gloves and light gloves to everybody. I assumed initially that it was like light gloves to the smallest people and heavier gloves to the heavier people, granting a handicap, but it's also like heavier gloves hit harder, so I'm really not sure what we were trying to what exactly we're trying to do. And I'm also uncertain like what weight of gloves does Aoyama, who's really small, get in difference from his opponent who's really big. Like big guy gets 16-ounce gloves and Aoyama gets 6 or 8 ounce gloves. Okay, it makes sense. That's all that a smaller person would be able to lift and like wield effectively. They'd be able to be fast with them, but they're not going to be able to land as much. You have less mass to accelerate. But of course, you can't accelerate that mass as fast as a bigger person. I don't really get how it works as a handicap. It just feels like you're giving everybody the gloves that they need, but it opens the door for Joe to do the stupid thing and ask for the heaviest gloves to match Rikishi, who actually wants the heaviest gloves, partly as like a handicap for himself and partly just because he's familiar with them, I suppose. I'm not really sure. It's like a weird wrinkle, but if I can discount that, then Joe's sheer hubris in asking for the biggest, heaviest gloves, like, I could do the biggest one, fuck yeah, is going to be the thing that sort of sinks him here, I think. It forces him to fight without using his gloves initially and to, like, crack his opponent's defenses through fouls, through mistakes that, or like, choices and strategies that would get him disqualified were it a real match. And it's up to Danpei. If Danpei wants to disqualify him for this, I think that the other boxers would be down for it. Like I think Joe could actually lose himself this whole circumstance just by being a dick in the ring. He's already losing any chance at friendship or connection with all the people around here. Joe doesn't really care about that in the first place, but he also doesn't know what it might be worth if he were to. Ah, then there's a bunch of stuff in this episode that feels like it echoes elements of the last few or like contradicts them. Joe follows through in contradicting elements of the last episode in ways that are against what Danpei is trying to teach and trying to like put forth. So the first of those is that Joe is out here training, and in his mind, and what he says to Nishi is like, "This isn't just going to be easy. Those guys are gunning for me." And in my head, I'm like, "Okay, that's cool. At least he's taking it moderately seriously." But at the same time, he's not going and watching the matches, right? He has to get implored to come and watch, to actually watch. I still won't lose, not to these guys, and then he runs off. And it's sort of silly. He shoves Nishi aside. This is like a classic theme that we've got. Nishi comes up to Joe and being like, Joe, you gotta take this shit seriously. Joe's like, fuck off! I do what I want! Later! Whee! Okay, Joe. Sure, do what you want. Alone, with no friends, and no coach, and making stupid decisions out of hubris and the belief that you're undefeatable. There's this sequence where he's like, I'm not gonna win. I'm not gonna lose. Me lose? No chance. As he's crying and beating down his opponent. Because that's what it is. It's like we're drilling down to Joe's ego center. Joe doesn't want to win boxing matches because it's like his dream or it's something that fulfills him. He wants to win because he doesn't lose. His identity cannot allow it. It's like I am a person who does not lose. It's like I guess we were taught that in episodes 1 and 2 about Joe, where he goes after and gets gone after by a bunch of Yakuza, like a bunch of adults with weapons, and he gets the shit kicked out of him, and then he goes back for seconds. He goes back for more because he's like, I don't fucking lose. I do not lose. I don't lose against Yakuza. I don't lose against the police. I'm sure as hell not going to lose against some small piddly prisoners that have gotten a few days of training. No chance. I'm better than that. I'm Joe. I'm Joe. I'm the greatest. I'm a legend, you know? And I think it's in being wrapped up in that identity that he becomes really fragile. It's like a glass statue of an image of yourself, and all it takes is a little tink tink tink. So you have to do these sort of grandiose actions and convey outward that sort of stuff. Um, there's a line that Rikishi says about like a bullied kid acting out of desperation, and it reminds me of that. It's like somebody without internal stability acting out stability externally, acting out like not even stability, but like strength, what they see as strength, which in this case is like fragile, violent, um, wrathful, easily emotionally swayed. Like those things are strength because they're unpredictable and they're scary and you beat other people into submission. I guess that's really what Joe does every time like his not really authority, but personal agency gets threatened. If people threaten his ability to do a thing or succeed at a thing or like sleep in a room safely, he gets really activated and really emotional. He has to act it out and he has to beat them down until his ego is no longer threatened, until all threats to his ego are in puddles of blood, and then Joe feels safe. And then he can pile up his futons and play King of the Hill, right? And everybody else goes, whoa, okay, we're not going to fight you, okay? And that's where Joe feels safe. It's like the only place he feels safe. Nobody can talk shit about me. Nobody's going to step to me. No bullshit's going to happen. I get to sit alone on my pile of futons and think of myself as King of the Hill. And I have no friends. I have no allies. I have no coach. It's just me. And that's how it's always been. And that's how I always win. And I can't lose because losing isn't something that I do. So if we demonstrate legitimate weakness in this total worldview, right? This like self-isolating, narrowing of field, focused on preventing threats, right? Like threat prevention. If we show fragility in that, what's left? What's left? You get the emotional response to that fragility, which is like attack back so that whatever's attacking me goes away. Attack back, attack back. Be full of spikes, right? Cover my glass statue on the inside with lots of spikes and lots of walls so that if you try to attack me, you get more hurt than I do. But then what if that burns out? Like he burns into this place of like of strong emotion. I will not lose. I will not. And his body is acting it out and he's beating the shit out of somebody. And what if those punches aren't landing? And he's just tiring himself out. And we get an exhausted, emotionally drained, internally challenged without a leg to stand on Joe, who's like insides are weak. His statue of self, his ego consciousness is shattered. Who fights? What fights there? Do we end up, like Rikishi says, with just a stray dog lashing out and snarling and then getting put down by somebody who's able to step away from the flailing teeth and claws, take the right opportunity, and land a punch? I think maybe. I think maybe. I think there's solid opportunity for Joe to lose here. There's also solid opportunity for Joe to learn here. But I'm not sure what he would need to learn in order to overcome this. Some sort of separation between, like, that that belief in self and the motivation and the hubris of it, the like I can't lose, like it's not physically possible for me to lose and therefore whatever I do is going to work. That sort of hubristic, like I am the ultimate, I'm so much better, I've beaten a professional boxer, these chumps got no chance. We've got to step away from that somehow, and I wonder if we can do it without Joe getting really trounced. I don't know. I don't know. Ring ropes of despair. I love Danpei bowing to everybody and getting some applause and everybody being down for it. We continue this loop of people within the prison system being like, oh, milady, tip tip, you're so fucking great and you bring all this money and shit. Everybody loves you and they're all smiling so bright. And her being like, it's not me. I'm just sponsoring this shit. Honestly, look at who's doing the stuff. They're the ones doing the stuff. And let's be honest, she does have a part to play here. Like, if you have the opportunity to swing the money stick and bring a bunch of money to a thing, like, that makes it happen for real. But this humility that she presents as well, where she's like, no, all I did was sponsor them. Keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on what's really going on here. I like it. I really like it. Okay, headgear. Um, Headgear is really interesting. There are arguments about headgear. Amateur boxing matches do use headgear, as far as I know, for the most part. There are some interesting arguments about headgear because it softens blows and you don't end up with like facial injuries and stuff because it protects you. But some fairly recent studies have been done demonstrating that there's actually more, because you take more hits and give more hits and can spar for longer and stuff. There's actually more internal trauma to the brain. The brain gets rocked around in its gelatin more if you have padding on you and you take more punches harder. So there are some boxing um studios, gyms that don't use headgear for sparring, and will only use it for the amateur matches because they require it. I don't really know. It's one of those complications to look into if you're going to engage in a violent blood sport that has long-lasting traumatic impacts on the human body and brain. But headgear for everyone except for Rikishi, because he doesn't want no headgear. He doesn't need no headgear. Glove sizes assigned to match their ability. Divide into 4 weight categories, gloves of 6, 8, 10, and 12 ounces, respectively. And it doesn't tell us 6, 8, 10, and 12 respectively to what. That way a strong person's punch will equal a punch for a weaker person. I'm not sure how that works out, but that's fine. No headgear for Rikishi. I simply have fairness in mind. Let them punch me in the face if they can. What a beast. Given your strength, even 12-ounce gloves aren't enough, so I'll approve your request. So, like, giving you heavy gloves is not enough of a handicap for you, is the idea? Okay. Okay. I don't know, man. Big heavy gloves seem scary in the hands of a strong guy. You know? Like, if you put heavy gloves on a weaker person, it's a handicap. But if you put heavy gloves on a strong person who can actually move the mass of them, you just have delivered a, a like, larger ammunition, right? They just have more mass to accelerate, and it just hits harder. So this is all some bullshit, and that's fine. It's anime bullshit. Fine. That's where I'm gonna put it. Chill. And of course, Joe's got to step to it. Rikishi's gonna do something cool and badass. I can do something cool and badass too. Sure, I weigh a third of what he does, but fuck it, heaviest gloves, no headgear. And Danpei looks down. Oh, are you really so skilled compared to everyone else? Do you really hold yourself that far above all of these? Yeah, absolutely. I fought with a former pro boxer. And what would you know anyway? You're just a coach with 5,000 years of experience. You don't know shit. Has there ever been a more clear image of hubris? Right? I can't lose. Oh, is that so? You forgot? Needle to me. I'll destroy him. You'll destroy him? Okay. No, you won't. You won't be able to do it. And Danpei really laughs here. And it's like, I don't know, it's like a 50-50 split between needling Joe and pushing him further and actually believing that it's true. But I do think he actually believes that it's true. I think Danpei's plan is for Joe to lose here to Aoyama. I wonder if Joe will pull something crazy off. This set of cuts back to their faces as we get closer and closer in on them, and Joe gets more and more Danpei is looking down on him, and it really does feel like a challenge. It's like, prove me wrong then. Prove me wrong then. And in part, I feel like this is to incite Joe to do more stupid things. Like, come on, Joe, be as arrogant as you can possibly be. That's going to make the lesson land the hardest. The more emotionally invested in this you are, the more, like, activated internally and emotionally you are about this, the more hubris you bring to bear, like, the more foolish you act, the more this is going to hurt when you get knocked down. And Joe goes from this smile to, like, not quite as self-assured as he was. And then everybody else steps in. Rikishi first, of course. You're ruining the mood, man. We're about to begin. Let's go. And Joe finds himself alone with everybody jeering at him again. He's like, I'm trying to stand up. There's still time. Why don't you watch a little bit? What? Learn from you? All right, so we said, he's got a theme song, bro. It's over. Over. Footwork makes the first difference, and there's no shot. Rikishi just looms, and then brings the pain. And Rikishi's able to get through his guard even with big, heavy gloves. No problem. He's able to punch straight through. He's got the power. He's got the skill. He's got it all. And one big punch knocks this guy fully out over the rings. Dangle. I almost thought he was dead. Boom. Broke his strap off his headgear. Holy shit, Rikishi! Victory. His greatness has reached a new level. Wow, only 16 seconds? Rikishi's one scary guy. Yeah? Well, I'll do it in 15 seconds. No, 10 seconds. Yeah! It'll only take me one round to hit it. No more than 10 seconds, right, Nishi? You hear me? Yeah, okay, man, whatever you say. I want to fight as soon as possible. So activated. He's got to prove himself. He can't stand not being the center of attention. He can't stand not being the obvious victor. He can't stand other people not... Like, Joe feeds off of other people being down on him, being like, you're not going to win. Joe gets amped by that. But he also wants somebody in his corner. He wants Nishi to be like, yeah, okay, Joe, you got it. He doesn't know how to get that, though. All right. Mamoru and Aoyama. Oh, yeah, he's just doing something stupid. He's acting like a pro boxer. Ha ha ha. Stretching and stuff. And Joe comes up with his own explanation. He's just trying to look away from his face. He's just afraid. Joe comes up with like 4 or 5 explanations for Aoyama's behavior that are grounded in a like complete and unchanged perspective on Aoyama that is still the same as it was a week ago. Right? I said it in the very beginning. It's like, you can't just think that somebody's going to stay the same. Aoyama equals a weak pansy. Joe calls him a pansy earlier too, who's got no chance, right? So what is Aoyama doing here? There's no chance that he's doing something strategic or meaningful. He's just running away and being scared. That's what it is. It makes sense to Joe. It's the only thing that makes sense to Joe. He does that a bunch of times through the episode. Ah, I see. However, this look in his eyes, though, keeps fucking giving you the evil eye, man. Are you sure that he's really just afraid? Or is he actually looking at you? Is he actually planning ahead? Thinking that his opponent is no problem? Huh? Huh? And then he looks at him, and Joe feels it. Yeah, he is focused on you. He's aiming at you. How does it feel to be on the other side? To be the one that people are gunning for? That's a piece of it. And he locks in. His facial expression has changed. He's ready to go. And we start instant transmissioning the guy. Huh? Where did he... Hello? These are fun. I think there's like a skibbity skip. Boop. Whoop. Yep. We just whoop. Huh? Where did he go? He's already over there. Fun. And then there are a couple of scenes where It's not here. We're introducing the footwork and stuff. This one I really like. We use it 3 times, maybe 4 times. It's like a bunch of flurries of punches as Aoyama zip, 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 zip. I was thinking that it must be a mix of 1s and 2s. Yeah, and it is. And it's also a mix of who's moving on what frame. It's quite cool. Incredible footwork! This is called footwork, right? I don't know. Yeah, Joe, you haven't learned everything. Swing, swing. He's wiggling. He's wiggling and wriggling. He's got that cognac. Oh, this isn't even the cognac jelly stuff. That comes later. When he fully drops his guard and starts just head bobbling. Whoa. Big smile. Same cut again. His agility. No, he won't get any points, but he is tiring his enemy out. Okay. Metaphorically, this is very much like Joe chasing after Dompe, and Dompe ignoring him and turning away. Yeah? Like, Dompe keeps doing that, and Joe keeps getting more incensed and kind of freaked. I got it! No more chasing him around! I got this! I'll just wait for him to tire himself out. It won't work. He's a little guy. He's got the stamina. You've got the big gloves. Freaking drops his guard and brings it. Come on, buddy. Let's see what you got. Bastard! Okay, and here's this cut that I really wanted to see, where he punches through the screen, and then his like foot ends up 3 times bigger than it should be. Motoba is like 40 feet tall. He's normal height here, right? But he's like 40 feet tall here. He's like an ogre. He's huge. His foot's the size of Aoyama. Kind of crazy. And we do it again a couple times. Swings through it. Bong. And Aoyama's really letting him hang himself. That was disgraceful. What are you doing? And Joe's watching, and I think he's realizing that he would lose to this too. Rikishi, blank face, just a little smile. That's right. This is what I expected. Now you've pissed me off. I'll kill you, you little blah, 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 blah. This is so fun. He's smiling throughout it too. It's his special technique. Oof, oof. So fun. I love dropping the background out to this black-gray situation. And then we do the same sequence of cuts that we had before on the black-gray as well. Scramble, scramble, but we sped it up even more. I like it. I really like it. This is what I know so far, but what's next? What happens next? Yeah. Finally, Joe's locked in and actually observing, actually paying attention. Big smile from Aoyama. He's doing it. All that swing is gonna wear him down. Rikishi knows what's happening here. It's finally time for a counterattack. Everybody's getting frustrated. It happened just like this, didn't it? Nah, it's not a tactic. He's not fighting. Tactics are for fighting. This isn't fighting. This is cowardly, unfair, befitting of a coward. Whoa, I didn't place how that reflects on Joe's next actions, right? Joe's happy to call Aoyama a coward, but when he acts cowardly and unfair himself, it's just in the nature, it's just part of winning. It's part of what he's got to do. It's an unfair double standard that Joe's leveraging here. Ooh, he's ready. He's coming. He's coming. He's zooming. He's fully ippoing. And he's stinging like a bee. Little lame punches, small little gloves. But if your opponent is static, can't move, can't fight back, that's all you need. So Aoyama, through a million paper cuts, lands enough punches to really clonk, bonk, and win the thing. Looks like a KO to me. None of his punches look good. His punches suck, but it doesn't matter. He won the fight as a whole. That's a fearsome guy. He doesn't have like the whole package, but he doesn't need to. He leans on his strengths. Danpei has taught him his best strengths, and he's got the opportunity to really win this thing. Now he turns his attention to Joe and gives him a little smile. He's ready for you next. What is it? What is it, you bastard? You fucking think you can fight me? All right, buddy, you can't win. Now, that won't work against me. Do you remember? I'm the one with the special punches. I'm better than that. Not because of some skills that I have. I just am. It's who I am is undefeatable. It's not that I have the layers of paint, the mountain of success and skill, and I know that I can win this, right? Like if Rikishi fights against Aoyama, I think Rikishi goes into that and is like, okay, I gotta make sure that I don't do something stupid, but I've got this. I have the skills necessary. I understand my opponent well enough. I have the capacity to win this fight. Joe goes in and goes, I am a person who does not lose fights. Therefore, I will not lose this fight. And there's no grounding to that except emotional. That won't work against me because I'm better. Fundamentally better. I'm different. I'm built different. I don't know, Joe. You think you have murderous punches? Let's see if you can even swing your fists. Before you fight Aoyama, you'll be beaten up by another opponent. Does Danpei mean you'll be beaten up by yourself? Or does Danpei mean you're literally going to lose to somebody else because you're not going to be able to swing your damn gloves? I think he means the latter, and I think that Danpei ends up actually a little bit surprised that Joe manages this next fight, and Joe has to cheat to do it. Ha ha ha! This is rich. Ha ha ha! What a great joke this is. There's something about this sequence where Joe turns away and is covered by the collar a little bit. It's like the internal side of the outside grandiosity. It's like the outside grandiosity isn't landing, being like, nobody can defeat me, not working, nobody's listening to it. So he turns inside and he's speaking to himself. He's like, ha, this is such a joke. I'll show them. Don't worry about it, me. I got this. We're gonna win. We're gonna win. We can't lose. We don't lose. No, we're never gonna lose. We're never gonna lose. And he's like building up that internal sort of statue again. That's what it feels like. And so he makes this big challenge or a bet. I'll walk over naked on my hands, which is silly. It kind of makes me think that Joe's not going to lose because he makes this bet narratively. But it's also hubris, pure and simple. And maybe a challenge to self to try to like put more stakes into his own mind so that he's pushed up against the ropes more. I think Joe thrives off of that pressure a little bit. Of like, there's no way through except victory. All my opponents have knives and they're actually going to kill me, and that's where he feels the most alive. So it's like there are real stakes, and I'm going to have to be embarrassed by this thing, and that's how I'll do it. I don't know. Why is Yabuki being alienated? You haven't seen the way he acts all the time, man. You've seen enough of it to have a pretty good inference about why he's being alienated, though. Joe is a stray dog. He has chosen this in many ways, and he's also internally organized this way. He doesn't work with others well. Rikishi says it. A stray dog abandoned by his owner, barking alone, exposed to the wind. That is his current state. This is boxing. You'll never win if you lose your composure. So we might actually get to see that challenge come through. Okay, Joe versus Matsuki. Ding, big, floofy gloves, my guy. Yabuki is a mad dog. He'll beat you up if you hesitate. Don't worry, I was always killing stray dogs. Holy shit. And Joe cannot swing his gloves. I love these background streaks. I think they're awesome and really fun, and they appear throughout when Joe actually does these big spin around. Whoa. And I love the way this all looks. Every single swing that Joe makes is an overswing with too much weight to it, and he's like rearing back and being pulled around by the weight of these gloves. It's cool. This is cool. It's like swinging a weighted bat. Whoa! Going along with it. Let's watch this first. Oh! Ugh! And trying to hold himself. And there's tension in all his musculature and tension in the, like, twisting of his core. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I really like... this might be my favorite, like, sequence in the episode. Maybe tied with Aoyama dancing around and thump, 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 thump. Ah! I spilled my beverage. Please, not on my keyboard. One sec. Okay. But I really like the sort of streaky orange and then the black sort of brushy lines and the red of the glove and the orange streaks and pew! And then they follow the glove as they come through, whip back and pew! And Joe's expressions as he pulls and almost like strangles himself with his arms every time. That's awesome. And then from the outside, ping, 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 ping. It's useless. These gloves sure are heavy. And he can't even, like, really hold his guard up effectively. He's trying to punch in, and the opponent's glove makes its way between his big pillows. No problem. Joe! Hey, whoa, no, it's just luck. Yeah, it's just luck. And Joe... it's the vibe of, like, all right, we're playing cops and robbers. Haha, I got you. It's like, no, you didn't get me. I have body armor. No, you didn't get me. It's just luck. It's not really a shot. I dodged it. I dodged it. It didn't work. He doesn't want to play by the rules, right? The rules are just an obstacle to victory. Joe plays by victory. Winning, killing. Joe's down to get knocked down a dozen times, right? And, like, lose his body and lose all his friends and lose everything, right? As long as the opponent ends up in the dirt at the end. Boom, boom. But Joe gets cooked. He's getting cooked. You're nowhere near Rikishi-san's feet. Oi, oi. And now he stumbles back and takes another down. And he gets up again like, whoa, oh man, that wasn't a knockdown. It was just a slip. No, dude. You got pummeled and fell on your ass. Stop it. No, Joe. You're in a fantasy world. That was a knockdown. It was a perfect knockdown. You're losing. It sinks in for Joe. Such a cold look. And this is one of those facial expressions that in the show, just like, how much emotion is in this? He's turned away. He's like, he knows what's going to happen, but there's still some empathy to it. It's like, oh, you poor guy. You're going to lose. But it's also, this is what's needed. What are you going to do about it? What have you learned? Is it working? I really like this. I really like that. We bring in all these lines on Joe's face as he contorts himself. Oh, I'm not gonna lose. And just sort of becomes kind of terrifying and like, okay, okie dokie. Let's do this. He begins to attack with his head. Not what we meant. To kick and to punch. Take as many points as you want. I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to kick him in the knees. Stop it. It's dirty. You're fighting dirty. Fight fair and square. Stop. Foul. Doesn't care. Pretty villainous. And so, having opened the way, he's able to, with a big smile, pure joy, Joe really wants nothing more than his opponent to be a sandbag for him to pummel, right? Just a way to express his ego, right? It proves to him with every punch that the truth that he knows to be true, I am better than everyone and I deserve to win. It's like every punch that lands on the sandbag is like, yeah, that's it. I'm better than everyone. And every time his opponent actually dodges a punch or takes it or returns one, it's like, oh no, my whole sense of self-identity gets shattered. Can't have that. Let's turn back and yay, we're winning. We're winning. He doesn't care how he gets there as long as he gets to be fulfilled, gets to prove how good he is to himself. Bam, bam, bam. And it's utterly brutal once he gets it going. It's just up against the ropes. But Yabuki is crying, acting out of desperation like a bullied kid standing up to a bully. This isn't strategy. He doesn't have his cool. He's just like a snarling mad dog. The fire in his heart has consumed him. We get these internal worldview moments, and this one's the most striking of them. All this sketch around him, all this water flowing off of him, all this sweat, all this effort in it. It's like, effort. I can't lose. I can't lose. It's not something I do. Not I. I don't lose. We're at that core sense of self for him. It's all there is. It's all there is the self, the unshakable, unbreakable self. And now it's under threat. It's like seriously under threat. And this is the response. Teary eyes. And it's like the closest to seeing red. You know, people say like, oh, I don't need to train to fight. I'll just, when shit hits the fan, I'll just see red and ape out, you know? I used to actually think this. I used to think that like, and the thing that confirmed it for me was that in young childhood, just being unpredictable was enough to get people to not fuck with you. I was and am a fairly small person, and so I came up with strategies to seem scary, right? To seem like a little unpredictable and a little bit crazy, and they worked perfectly. Nobody fucked with me. But I know now that if I'd actually come rubber hits the road and shit had hit the fan, I wouldn't have seen red and aped out. I would have gotten my clock cleaned, and probably ended up on the ground being kicked by somebody, right? Like, that's not gonna happen. That's what this feels like, is like everything else has been shed away. There's no thought. The only thing that's left is this like no losing, seeing red, or in this case, seeing gray, and just acting, pummeling. As if Joe can punch his way out of his isolation, out of his failures and his mistakes and his, like, the places where he doesn't actually equal up, the things that he doesn't actually know. Because he doesn't know all the things that Danpei has to teach. He doesn't know which way tomorrow leads. He doesn't know footwork. He doesn't have it all, but his ego can't hear that, can't internalize it and be like, yeah, I'm just learning, and it's fine for me to make mistakes and learn. It's like, no, I can't do that. I'm perfect. I'm great. I'm better. I'm the kind of talent that's only been seen once in a generation. Nobody is like me. It would be like if I did a drawing like that, I was unsatisfied with it, and so I tore it up and threw it away and pretended that it hadn't happened because, like, I'm not a person who fails at drawings. Over the course of doing these drawings, like over the past couple of weeks, maybe like 5 or 6 of them, I've come up to the end of them and been like, well, I'm not really happy with that, but it's a point in my progress, and that's pretty cool. I don't think Joe can do that. I don't think Joe can do that because he's always the best, right? And so there's no room for him to improve. I'm always the best. There's no room for me to improve. I can't look at myself at a point in time where I'm not completely successful and say, this is part of a line that leads me to being more successful. It's like, either I'm 100% successful or I'm 100% a failure, and I can't be a failure, so I must not have weaknesses, so I must be super strong, and I can't lose, and I'm going to put everything into making sure that it stays that way. Not I. I don't lose, I can't lose. That's our end of episode. I can't lose. I can't. We'll see if you do, Joe. I think you might lose here. I think you might lose. Okay, thanks so much for watching through this week's episode of Ashita no Joe with me. I'm going to leave it off here. I think this is a great setup and a great, like, emotional journey that we're on with Joe in this first portion. We're coming to understand at least a little bit of what the plan is here, and some of it is reflecting onto Joe and forcing him to take action. But I don't think that it's changing him in the way that Donpei kind of expected and hoped that it would. Joe's too unpredictable to do that too. However, the fire that's been lit inside Aoyama's heart does seem in some way, in the way that happens when you hold two matches near each other and the flames sort of leap between them and both become a much larger fire. It feels like that little flame that's burning in Aoyama has boosted Joe's fire. But I'm worried that Joe will burn himself up in that flame. Yeah? That's literally kind of what we're doing here is like Joe's going to burn himself out trying to be better than, trying to prove that he's good enough without really, like, well, he's going to lose his cool, as Rikishi says. And I wonder if he's going to lose the match along with it. We'll have to find out next time on Ashita no Joe, where I think I'm going to plan to do a double and hopefully finish this Aoyama portion arc thing, at least this chunk of it, up. Thanks for watching with me. I'll see you next week for more Joe. Much love. Peace.